Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another week on PowHER Live. So, if you're joining us here for the first time, my name is Brittany Cantor-Barb. I am an executive coach and consultant, and I help executive badass women just like you go out there and build a career that brings you joy, that brings you meaning, and a hell of a lot more money than you ever thought possible. And I'm really excited to continue in our series about the PowHER, POWHER, PowHER of you. So we wanted to really kick off this series and given women everything that they need to embrace PowHER in all aspects of their life. And today I'm so excited to have yet another powerhouse guest with us, Ann Carden. Ann, hello and welcome.
Hello, hello. Hi, everyone. Thank you, Brittany, for having me. I am excited to be here with you.
Oh, well, so many amazing things, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to walk away from with today. We are going to be talking about the PowHER branding you. So this is specifically around your personal, your professional brand, whether you're in a corporate executive or you're an entrepreneur, you're going to walk away today with steps you can take on immediately to start one, clarifying that brand, two, and then monetizing that brand. So no matter what path you're on, we cannot wait to bring you just that. And so, with that being said, Anne was the perfect guest to bring on because this is what she does for a living each and every day and have been doing it a really long time. So, Anne, if you don't mind, tell everybody just how incredible you are at this concept and what it is a little bit more about what you do.
Thank you so much. I absolutely love the power of personal branding because it is the foundation for everything that you do, whether it's a career or an opportunity or as an entrepreneur. It is literally your marketing foundation. And we're always marketing ourselves. A lot of people don't think of branding this way, but we are always marketing ourselves in everything that we do. You're always selling yourself in some way. And so that image, that outside perception that people have of you, of your brand, of who you are and how good you are is something that a lot of people they're missing out because they don't have that in place.
Oh, and that's so true. And I think that, when it comes to personal branding at all, let's be real. A lot of people aren't teaching this in a way that's extremely effective, right? Just earlier before we jumped on the call, you have a poll up right now. Everyone that is joining us live on LinkedIn, go to Anne's profile, answer that poll. And what she's quizzing everyone on is would you rather have, is it $1 million or 1 million followers? Was that it?
Right. $1 million or 1 million followers. I just thought it would be a fun poll to see where people's heads are at.
Yeah, and well, let's tell us a little bit about some preliminary results. Obviously, we don't want to skew how people are voting, but we talked a little bit about this whole concept of what we see very much today of wanting these huge social media platforms as executives or as businesses, and people really get lost in those numbers and they do a lot of self-sabotage and even beating themselves up when they're like, oh, I don't have 50,000 followers on LinkedIn or YouTube overnight, i.e., I'm bad. Really? I mean,
Right.
what do you think causes that?
Well, I think we see so much around influencer marketing and vanity numbers. I mean, people have even written books, How to Get 1 Million Followers in 30 Days, and all of these things. And so people are really wrapped up in vanity numbers. And I don't quite understand if you don't have a purpose to why you are doing all of the work on social media, why you're doing all of that. Why are you? I mean, if you don't know what you're doing and what your end result is, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. So when people are talking about, oh, I would rather have 1 million followers, if you don't know how to monetize those, if you don't know what to do with 1 million followers, if and 1 million followers doesn't necessarily mean that they're engaged, right? There's all kinds of there's all kinds of factors that people don't think about. Oh, it just sounds good to have 1 million followers. Well, that is vanity more than anything because I I know people that have so many followers and they're not making any more money than I am, and I don't have 1 million followers. So you have to look at what are you trying to accomplish with social media and with all of that. So I thought it would be an interesting poll, but I will tell you this. It's a small percentage that have said 1 million followers. a small percentage, which is good news, I think, because what I have learned and what I teach my clients, it's not about quantity, it's about quality. If you have quality people in your community, in your network, in your connections following you, people that are real fans and they buy from you or they open doors of opportunity, isn't that why we're really doing this? So,
Oh,
yeah, it's quality over quantity any day of the week.
and I think that's in all aspects of our lives, and we forget that. I think no matter whether it's in the exact context
True.
we're talking about today, right? More is not always better. So, and let's kind of break this down into small nuggets for everyone today. Obviously, we promise to show them both, the corporate executive side of the house when it comes to branding, and then of course as entrepreneurs when people first start thinking about personal branding. And I know all my clients that come to me, right, when I'm asking them like to start putting themselves out there on social alone, and
Mhm.
it's very, very intimidating for them. And we work obviously specific with executive women, right, that we
Right.
know since the beginning of time women have been actually taught the opposite of self promotion. So they
Mhm.
feel very icky almost when they first start this process, and we spend a lot of time just really honing down, and making her feel authentic when she
Right.
does that. How do you do this with entrepreneurs? And I would say, especially new entrepreneurs, even myself, when I first
Mhm.
started doing it, when it wasn't for, the executive world and I transitioned, what do you think really causes them to not have a strong personal brand or not really put themselves out there, their fears?
I think there are a few things. I think one is they don't really know what they should be doing. And so that's the first thing. It's like there's so much. There's so many different things you could be doing. There's so many different platforms. How do you know? Should you be on YouTube? Should you be on LinkedIn? Should you be on Facebook doing Facebook lives in groups? What should you be doing? So I think the first thing is people not having a clear strategy for what is going to work and then what is the end goal that you're trying to accomplish. I work with people that are offline and online and I pull them online because here's the thing, the internet is not going anywhere. And if you want to do anything, if you want to be looked at as credible, as an authority, as someone that people can trust to either buy from you or even promote you or whatever that is, they are going to Google you. They're going to look at your brand. They're going to look at your online presence. You're not going to be seen as trustworthy if you don't have a strong online presence and a strong online position. So when I really break this down with my clients, it's not really optional if they want to build their business. Now they can still go out and speak, but you know what, Brittany? If they want to get speaking engagements, they need to be visible online. They need to be showing up online. If you want to get opportunities coming to you, partnerships, more clients, whatever that is, they are going to search you. They're going to come across you online. And here's what I love about it. When you do this right, it speeds the know, like, and trust. I built a lot of businesses offline before I ever came online. Online, hands down, has it's been lightning fast to speed the process of not just more people being able to see you, but people being able to really get to know you and trust you and like you and all of those things. So, to me, it's a no-brainer. And so I really share this with my clients. If you're serious about building your business, this is something that's just not optional. It's just not. We're in that place today.
Oh, and it's such an interesting concept because just like you said that you have folks that are clients and you have to like kind of push them into this
Mhm.
online world. I have the exact same thing with our executives, that come on board, whether she is works, searching for the job, she's done with a job, she paid her dues with that, and she's
Right.
really wanting to break into these industries. And I always say, let's think about this. Like, so many of us are really intimidated by this online world. The whole idea of putting yourself out there and being that vulnerable. But if you think about it, to get a job back in the day, before we had these free tools that Anna and I are talking to you on right now for free, how you are actually able to get influencer visibility. Let's say if you wanted to work at, a Fortune 5 organization
Mhm.
as a corporate executive, like you legitimately had to get in your car, go to the after
Right.
hours chamber event, right?
Yes, or fill out the application,
Oh my
right.
gosh, or fill out an application and then only to get to the event and there's like 3 people in the room everybody else wants to talk to. So you would like almost stand in an assembly line to get
Yes,
to talk to the person. And then so when you think about it like that, like those were the only ways to gain visibility back then. Now
right,
you can literally be in front of millions of people with little to no following, right?
right.
So what's really harder, right? Putting stuff out there,
Mm.
providing value, or going back to the old school way?
Oh, I mean, hands down, let's just think about this for a minute. I need to get my calculator, but let's just say you put out one piece of content a day. Let me do this math real quick. We didn't plan this, but so let's say you put out one content piece a day, okay? 365 days a year. Oops. And you put that on even just 3 platforms. That's 1,095 ways people can see you over the course of a year. And if their friends like it or people engage, now their network, their friends, their community will also see. So we really don't even know the reach, to be quite honest. Where have you ever been able to get that kind of visibility? And, as an entrepreneur, Brittany, back in the day when I was trying to build my business, I had to run an ad. I would spend $1,500 for an ad. I had to wait weeks for that ad to come out. I had to pray the ad worked. And then it was another month or 2 before another one came out, and that is how you had to grow your business, or you had to go out, like you said, and network hours and hours and hours and traveling and all these events and all these things, and you had to network. And now it's just so easy. You can create one piece of content, you can put it across all channels, you can repurpose it everywhere, and that is there's more people that can see that than you can even realize. So it's almost crazy to do it the old-fashioned way. I love to merge the 2, though, I will say that. I love to merge the offline and the online world.
Oh, of course. Yeah. I mean, because there's still power, especially in a post COVID market. We're craving, like
Sure.
Ann and I are talking virtually right now, but it would be really cool, right? If we could be in a studio right now and actually talk in real life. But you make a really good point about just putting out one piece of content a day and
Mhm,
having like that kind of exposure. What I've noticed within our folks over here at PowHER, once they finally like, okay, Brittany, I'm going to do your thing. I'm going to go in and I'm going to do this. And then when they actually go to create the content, that is when the imposter syndrome, the fear,
mhm,
the agonizing over every single little detail comes in, worrying about hashtags and on and on and on and
mhm,
on. And one way that we've broke through this on this side of the house, and I would love to know how you do it as well with entrepreneurs, is when she first comes in, I literally make her tell me how are 20 different ways you crushed it last year alone, 20 different wins. And the reason I do that is it's very objective, right? Because
mhm.
as women, this whole concept around self promotion, that's going to take years of breaking down those generations and decades of
Right.
those opinions handing down. But when she can tie that something to objectively and then speak directly to how she can provide value, it
Mhm.
really changes that dynamic and builds a ton of confidence. When in the entrepreneur world, especially brand new entrepreneurs, they may not have a brag board. How do you get them to really harness and be able to show how they bring value in their post and in their content?
Right. So probably do it a little bit different than a lot of people. So a lot of people are out there teaching coaches, consultants, entrepreneurs to do things that get engagement. It's all about engagement, right? And I have not found that to work to bring buyers or to build your business. And so really help my clients break down how they help people. So there's several pieces. There's social proof. Okay, tell us about some of the testimonials and some of the clients that you've worked with, some of the people that you've helped, some of the things you've done, very much like what you're doing. But then that gets posted, right? That gets talked about. You have to tell those stories. Oh, even walking people through a client result, how you got that client result is very, very powerful content that also gives value. It's like pulling back the curtain and letting people see exactly how you got that result for someone. So that's really powerful content. The other thing, though, is I'm a believer in influence marketing. So when I say influence, you want to pull people to you for what you do. That's the purpose of it. And if you do that in the right way, you're still giving value, but you are getting them again to see deeper into how you work with people, how you help, that you know what you're doing. It all builds that credibility. So we're really about educate your audience and your market more than just working for engagement. Now, some things actually, I'll just tell you that poll that I just put up, there was a strategy behind that because
Mhm.
I help people build businesses to $1 million or more. I wanted to know who are the people that want the $1 million and who are the people that are just thinking followers, right? That to me, that is more playing business, unless, like I said, unless you really do know how to monetize that, and you could potentially turn 1 million of the right followers into way more than $1 million, right? So, but I did that poll for a reason. So that's still an engagement post, but there's still a strategy behind that. So now no one's going to go going to go comment on that.
Right?
But yeah, but I am just a believer you put a strategy behind everything that you do. And but the whole idea is to really draw out the people that would really want to work with you or want your help or that you could give value to. The people that will uh really e- appreciate the value that you're bringing to them.
Oh, and I love, love, love that. And you had so many really good nuggets in that. And one that stood out to me the most is being, very intentional and how you want to bring value. And I noticed that when people, they give in, they start down this personal brand strategy, especially in the executive corporate America side, and they want to put out posts that their dream client, i.e., their dream job, doesn't really
Mhm.
care about. It's stuff that they care about.
Right.
And so, some tough love that we do every time that we're going through this, I'll ask, tell me why the CEO of that organization or board of director cares at all about what you're talking about. And so, whenever I say it over and over, your brand actually has absolutely nothing to do with you. And that's a
Yeah.
really, like, I'm being very coy and very dramatic when I say that. But when you go out there and you speak to what they want and how you provide value,
Mhm.
and then in time, of course, you can post things, about amazing, more the softer side of business, unless that's what, the type of executive she's going into nonprofit.
Mhm.
But I know this as an entrepreneur myself, how this translates into the entrepreneur world is a lot of times, sometimes what we want to post is not actually what our client wants. We know
True.
all the behind the scenes, right? All the how to, but that's not what they're coming to you for, is the how to. They want the result. How do
Right.
you get folks to really break out of their shell in the entrepreneur world to stop saying, this is what I want versus this is what the hero of my story, my dream client wants?
Mhm. It is an ongoing process because people are typically wired, right, to post about what they know and all of that, but not putting themselves in the other person's shoes. So one of the things that I'm always saying is you post content because obviously I'm working with entrepreneurs. You post content for buyers, not engagers. And when you make that mental shift, would that pull that buyer to you? Or would they not pay attention to it? Now, that being said, I do think there is a place if you can put a spin on it so it makes sense. You can have interesting posts that are very engaging, but they're still educating and they're still
Mhm.
influencing. I'll give you an example. I have triplet grandkids, and when they were little, I would watch them go from, one toy, so all 3 of them, they would play with a toy for 30 seconds, and then they'd be on to the next toy and on to the next toy. And it's so interesting watching 3 of them do the same thing, almost like their brains are connected. And I remember putting up a post on LinkedIn about how, well, I put it across all platforms, but I remember talking about how these triplets and the way their brains work and the way they're all over the place. I brought that into how entrepreneurs chase shiny objects and how they don't stay focused. And so there was a whole purpose for why I was bringing it in. But people loved seeing pictures of the triplets, right? They thought the pictures were cute. And so, but that's a good example of letting someone see who you are, getting a glimpse at the personal side of you, but then still bringing it back around to what you're trying to accomplish. But I mean, I will post personal things that if I'm on a trip or whatever, and I let people see other sides of me, and I think that's important to bring out in your content as well, like video, and let people see who you really are. So all of those things are important, but a lot of people really go overboard with the engagement content, and they're forgetting, in my opinion, why they're really doing all of this to begin with. Or maybe that just is their strategy. I'm not sure why, but yes.
Ah, I could not agree more. And I love the story of the triplets and just that being able that, because you're right. I mean, as especially in the entrepreneur world and even in the executive world, we're so trained to have immediate return on results, right? If
Mhm.
I do something like if I decide to start dieting today and I haven't lost 10 pounds by the end of the week, I'm ready to give up, right?
Now
Or if
wait
I,
a minute. I just took a drink of coffee and I almost spit that out.
but we want that, right?
Everyone does. We're in a quick win society. Yes.
Yeah, and people don't, let's be honest, we don't want to work that hard for our results. And I don't mean, American, we know that we very much a hustle culture, but what we have seen is what gets you that long-term ROI, what builds a
Right.
legacy brand, whether you're an executive or an entrepreneur,
Mhm.
is staying true to your North Star. And the women within my programs, the ones that really, really, like we all have, that those folks that are like, I'll drink whatever Kool-Aid you put in front of me, and then you just watch their
Mhm.
results just snowball. And one thing that I found that was amazing and why, I really push this whole concept because how we teach it, it is very much about the confidence. So when I'm forcing her to write content every week, right? Posting on the exec side at
Right.
least 3 times a week. We know in the entrepreneur world it's a hell of a lot more than that. But she's forcing herself over and over to say, here's how I help. Here's how I help.
Mhm.
Here's how I help. And that alone, the psychology behind that, what that does for your self-esteem and your confidence and just
Yes.
knowing beyond conviction, that you cannot curate. And that is
Right.
only so it takes time. Do you see that same translation within your
Oh,
clients and entrepreneurs?
100%. The more it really, like, develops this clarity and it really solidifies how good they really are, the more they're doing that and the more they're putting that out there. And I always like to say too, I say this to my clients, I say, look, content and writing and copywriting and all of those things that you're doing, even getting on video, it is like a muscle. You have to keep working it. You don't go to the gym one time, do a bicep curl and go, "Oh, look at my muscles," right? It doesn't work that way. It really is like a muscle that you develop. And so the more you put it out there, I mean, Brittany, I think about, oh my gosh, I don't know even know how many years ago this was, but I think about my very first Facebook Live. I was shaking, shaking, and it was the worst video ever. And I was used to even speaking on stages. I had been speaking practically all of my life, but that Facebook Live getting on video, because I was trying to figure out the technology, and then I was trying to remember what I was going to say, and I wanted it to be good. And it was terrible. It was just horrible, but I left it up anyway, and I kept moving forward. And now it's just not a big deal. I don't even know how many times I'm on video on, a week, right? And it's just part of, and I actually love it. It's one of my favorite things to do in my business. So it really is something that it's just a skill set. It's just a skill set that you develop. That's all it is.
Oh, Yeah, and I love that you shared that, and thanks for the vulnerability because I think people forget we're all terrified when we start something for the first time. I don't
Right.
care how confident you think you are. It's just something that you know that what's true confidence, true courage
Mhm.
is the ability to try,
Yes.
right?
Yeah. You
Oh,
know, I'll tell you something else too, is sharing this. So I remember when I first started doing content marketing and email marketing and all of that. Well, I didn't have this little tool called Grammarly. And so I had to hire an editor and pay an editor because I was so afraid to put something out that had, something not spelled right, because let's face it, you cannot edit your own stuff. I don't care what anyone says. And I used to send an email, and then I would read the email back after it got sent out to how many people, and I would say, "Those email gremlins showed up again. There are typos, there, oh my gosh, how did I not catch this? I read this thing 5 times." And that used to really hold me back, and then when tools came out like Grammarly, and then I just quit worrying about it. I'm like, "Okay, if you don't, I'm not perfect, so if you're expecting me to be perfect, sorry, you're not my person," right? And you just have to get over it. And you just have to realize the people that are going to love you, they're going to love what you're all about. They're not going to care. They're not going to care. So,
they don't. Oh, it's such a good point. Well, Anne, I mean, I know this is something you and I could talk about for days, but just to give everybody watching, a summary, one is there is no if you should start branding yourself and doing personal branding. It's you have to,
mm,
basically, this is how the world works and it's not going away. And it's actually a much easier way to do it. The
yes.
only way to build confidence is to put yourself out there and start trying and stay true to your objective. So in the corporate and executive world, the whole point in doing what you're doing is to build a legacy career and then
Mhm.
to have provide value to organizations. Right? So as long as you speak to that and how you provide value, you can't fail,
Right.
right?
That's right.
On the
That's
entrepreneur side of the house, it sounds to me like it's keeping your client and showing up every single day on how to improve your client's life. Is that
It
right?
is. Yes, it really is. I mean, you're building your business, right? And social media, like you said, they're free platforms, most of them. Now you can get obviously paid versions and all and run ads and all of that. But yes, if you want to build your business, even if you want to speak offline and get on stages, they're going to look at how you show up online. And if that is not strong, if you're not positioned strong, which is the outside perception, you're going to miss those opportunities. So you're really missing out. But the other thing too, Brittany, and I just want to bring this up real quick. I used to years ago when I would run marketing, I would run local marketing events and help people, and I would have people like State Farm agents and owners and people in the room, and I would tell them, don't brand the company, brand you, because if you ever decide that you want to leave State Farm or you want to move to another organization or another job or whatever that is, you don't want people to know you because you're State Farm. You want them to know you because you're Brittany, right? And so I taught that for years, and I think that's really an important thing for people to understand is that
Mm.
you are the person that needs to be branded. And then the company you work for is great, but you know what? This is my sixth business. I have seven businesses. I still have people that remember me from my other businesses, and I'm like, "Yeah, I don't do that anymore," right? But if they looked at me now, they would see that, I've moved on to something different. But the reason I was able to do that, Brittany, is because it was still me, right?
Yeah.
It was still me. And so that's just such an important part of personal branding.
Oh, and I love that nugget. Every time I get pushback on that, especially in the executive world, I say, "Who has a bigger marketing budget, you or the organization you work for? Why are you going to give away your
Right.
valuable real estate to them?"
Exactly.
Oh, well,
Unless they're
and
paying you
oh,
for sponsorship. Yes.
there you go. Well, and where can people that are ready today, obviously finding so much value over what you're saying today, how can entrepreneurs go find out more about you?
You can go to my website at annelcarden.com. So there's an L in between. But you can also book a call with me at acarden.com. If anything that I'm saying is resonating and you want some help really getting that brand established and getting that positioning strong and being able to really grow your business from it. So, yes.
Oh, sounds like an incredible opportunity. And everyone else, for those corporate execs you're watching out there, obviously follow along so you do not miss another episode on PowHER Live. We are doing this at least once a week, if not more. And we're going to continue on The Power of You series with more amazing powerhouse women just like Anne to give you nuggets week after week so you can monetize on this today. Anne, thank you so much. Incredible
Thank you
combo.
so much. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. It
Oh,
was wonderful being on here.
absolutely. See you later.
Okay. Bye bye.
Bye bye.